Okay, can we start?
Yes, sir.
So we will start with Parsons. Okay. So tell me what all things do you know about Parsons?
Parsons gave the integrated approach, that is micro plus macro.
Yeah, first thing that you know is actually related to the American sociologist. Yeah, integrated approach. Okay, so he combined, micro, macro, or rather, in a much better way, we can say that he combined, positivism, idealism, both, or non-positivism, combination of both, right? So here, macro approach is mainly positivist. Here, these are developed from the idealist. Okay, idealist from Hegel onwards. This micro approach is there, giving importance to the individual meanings, ideas, etc. So he basically combined the various viewpoints of positivist and idealist. Okay, micro macro, like you said. Okay, apart from that, yeah, abstract theorization and universal theory that we will study in terms of grand theory. Increase the scope of social action, yeah, that also we have discussed. So he improved our Weber in his understanding on social action, and in fact that is what we are going to discuss today. Okay, but for introduction, what all things you can write? This is one thing that you already know that we have discussed in case of scope of sociology already. Apart from that, grand theory, universal theory. He mainly dealt with abstractions. Yeah, okay. What else? Or when we talk about Parsons, he basically combined positivism, idealism. Yeah, he favored subjectivity and objectivity, both, right? Both is required. And then utilitarianism. This is not important for you in sociology. We have not discussed this. We have already discussed about positivism. We have discussed about idealism. What is the assumption in positivism? Assumption. It's all about empiricism, right? When we discussed about positivism, it's about empiricism, universalism, naturalism, inductivism. So this is what we have discussed under positivism. And they are stressing on universal laws, objectivity, empirical reality, natural reality, inductive. So these are the approaches. But what was the rejection here? Let's talk about the rejection in different approach. What Parsons is doing is, from different approach, the exclusions in that particular approach will be favored by Parsons. So what is the rejection here when it comes to positivism? What is the rejection? What is excluded? Subjectivity, right? Subjectivity or subjective meaning is actually excluded. Subjectivity can I say internal meanings, right? So internal meanings and abstract phenomena. Here there is no abstractions. So here mainly subjectivity is excluded. Now what about idealism? What is the assumption here? Assumption. Subjectivity, right? Subjectivity, that is an internal meaning, actor's interpretation of reality, etc. That is what we have discussed under Hegel, we have discussed under Weber. So we have already covered that. But what is the rejection here in idealism? What is the society? The pressure exerted by the collectivity. Okay, so here there is an ignorance towards collectivity, right? So the pressure exerted by collectivity. Actually, when we discussed about Weber, I have told you it is not the collectivity who is imposing the pressure or imposing the individual to do certain things. Rather, it is all about individuals' own interpretation about the various social phenomena, social institution or collectivity. So here the rejection is collectivity. Now when we come to utilitarianism, we haven't discussed about this. Actually there was no context and no thinkers also here and we need to discuss. So this is British utilitarianism. This is French positivism. When we talk about positivism, mainly we talk about French positivism. German idealism, and British utilitarianism. In case of utilitarianism, actually the actor's actions, okay, actions are motivated based on his own benefit. So actions are based on your own benefit. Like you're preparing for civil service exam, it is a utilitarian approach, or it is for your own benefit. Okay, so like that. So that is utilitarianism. So what is this is an assumption. Doing things, or you are motivated from or for your own benefit. So what is the rejection here? Again, the values of the society or values of the individual, right? So rejection is influence of values. Influence of values on individual. So you can see here positivism, this is there, this is there, this is there, but at the same time rejections are also there. Now what Parson is going to do? Parson will combine everything. Parson will combine everything. So he favored the exclusivism favored by the French positivism, that is subjectivity, the German idealism, that is collectivity, and also British utilitarianism, that is the values. Okay, so that is the approach of Parson. So in single line, what I can tell you is Parson's approach is a combination of French positivism, German idealism, and British utilitarianism. And Parson favored the exclusivism favored by different aspects, like different these perspectives: positivism, idealism, and utilitarianism. Utilitarianism you will study later when you prepare for ethics. Okay, utilitarian concept and deontological thoughts, etc. you will study later, not important from sociological point of view. Okay.
Sir, what is meant by assumption and rejection?
Why are you asking this now? This assumption means what is the fundamental idea behind
Positivism.
Yeah, positivism. That is an assumption.
Like it is
Empiricism,
human relation.
Empiricism, universalism, universal laws, objectivity. These are the main points that we have discussed under positivism, right? The positivists focus on these elements. And what we discussed as the criticism, that is what I mean by rejection.
Subjectivity.
Yeah, yes. Subjectivity. Exactly the same in case of idealism. There, what is the assumption? It is the meanings, motives, emotions has to be studied.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. And the rejection is
collectivity. That is a criticism that we have studied.
In German idealism, in the rejection, we are talking about the micro level, not the micro level.
What? Rejection is macro level, because idealism means it's all about ideas, meanings, internal aspect. So assumption is the micro.
Society is a macro level, and individual level is the micro level.
Yeah, macro level is the rejection.
Okay.
So in otherwise you can say Parson combine micro plus macro. Simple. That's it.
Okay.
Simple. Okay. So just go with the introduction. I've shared that CSAT videos yesterday. Have you gone through that?
Yes, sir. I saw that. Today I will start CSAT paper.
Yeah, you can go through that playlist. Some videos are there. Even I've shared only 1 or 2 videos from each topic. You can go through the playlist if it is okay for you. Okay, and you can cover that entire CSAT. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So Parsons social action. This is the first topic that we are going to do. So here these are the previous year questions which was asked. Okay. So social action we will do today. This is another concept: pattern variables, AGIL model. Then this is Parsons' theory of social action, same, how he has improved our Weber. Already we talked about Weber. So here we will see how Parson is going to improve our Weber. Critically examine Parsons' theory of social system. This is another theory. And why is it known as Grant theory? So these are the topics that we need to cover today. No, not today. Today we will be talking about only social action. So this in the next day we will do that. Okay. So here we will go for introduction. Like what all things we have discussed the same. Parson, a prominent American sociologist, is sometimes known to have introduced functionalism in America. His approach favored development of Grant theories in the form of master analytical framework. He dealt mainly with abstractions involved in social reality. So when we talk about abstractions, he is challenging that empirical concept, etc. Okay, it is not necessarily empirical. It is not necessarily testable, etc. So you are dealing with abstractions. In doing so, Parsons used a multidisciplinary approach along with the synthesis of micro and macro perspective. Parsons developed an integrated approach by combining basic assumptions of positivism, idealism, and utilitarianism. To be specific, French positivism, German idealism, and British utilitarianism. You need to write like that, okay? According to him, each school is significant in understanding social reality, but Parsons rejects the exclusivism favored by these perspectives. Now you know what are the significance of each perspective, also the exclusions of these perspectives. So what Parsons will do, Parsons will combine all the exclusions as well. Thus Parsons favored the formulation of universal law, that is from which we are talking about positivism, idealism, and utilitarianism. Where we are talking about universal law?
Positivism.
Yeah, positivism. Subjectivity?
Idealism.
Idealism. Influence of values?
Utilitarian.
No, utilitarianism is ignoring influence of values, but that exclusivism favored by utilitarianism is what? Influence of values. And the motivation of the individual, that is what utilitarianism. Okay? This is actually ignored values, that is a rejection, but that also accommodated as basic elements of his own integrated approach. Okay, can we go to social action theory?
Yes, sir.
No doubt in introduction. No, that is a very simple introduction. We are only talking about what all things that we have discussed so far.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the theory of social action. In his book Structure of Social Action, Parsons, after examining the earlier theorist, developed his own theory of social action. According to him, any act consciously performed is social action. So any act consciously performed is social action. So he is considering any act consciously performed as social action, but he is giving certain conditions. Okay, so the conditions are like this. So any act, it has to be performed consciously. It is a social action, but certain conditions. What are the conditions? It must occur in a social situation. Okay, so it must occur in a social situation. So secondly, there should be some motivation for the individual. Thirdly, there should be some norms and values. Fourthly, there should be investment of energy for doing the action. So this is what you can see. The goal is required. Okay, so here, any act consciously performed a social action provided these four conditions. It has to be in a social situation. At the same time, it must be towards achievement of some goal. So goal is very important. In all Parsons' understanding, goal occupies very central role. Goal means motivation is required. See, when we are in this action, okay, this is considered a social action. Why it is considered a social action? Because it is in a social situation. Between us, there is a social situation. There is a goal. There is a common goal, right? You all want to crack the civil service exam. In fact, that is a common goal. That is a goal of from my side as well as from your side. So the actors are motivated to participate here, right? You are motivated to participate. This is a common goal. Norms and values. Yes, we are following the norms and values. Different norms and values in the class we are following, right? So many people are there. So if you are making noise, the class will be disturbed. Even it will be so difficult for me to take class. So all of you will turn off the mic. So nobody is talking when I am talking. Okay, so these are certain norms and values that we need to follow in this kind of setup. There is an investment of energy that is there from your side as well as from my side. Okay, so this is considered as a social action. Why? Because four conditions are satisfied. So it is consciously performed first of all. So any act consciously performed is a social action. Any doubt here? See, drinking water and all, in this context, it is not social action. It is performed consciously, but no social situation there. Okay, no, what is the goal? Okay, you may say that you are thirsty, so you are consuming, but no norms and values, no. So that cannot be considered a social action. It has to be in a social situation. Social situation means some kind of interaction should be there. Okay, some kind of interaction should be there, or it should be in front of people like that. So some kind of social situation has to be there. Some kind of social environment has to be there. Okay, so let's go through the PDF. So it must occur in so any act consciously performed as a social action. So firstly, it must occur in a social situation, that is the member of or the actor should be part of society. So that is a social aspect of his definition of social action. So social aspect. Okay, then that means social aspect means he is giving importance to macro. Action is oriented towards attainment of particular goal. It means that motivation of the actor or his meanings to the action is essential. So that is a motivational aspect, that is a micro aspect, that is the individual aspect. So this is a macro, this is micro. Okay, it is regulated by the norms and values of society. So that is the value aspect, right? This is what we have discussed, right? It is ignored in the utilitarian aspect. So that is actually accommodated here. Fourthly, it involves the investment of energy or efforts from the part of the actor. So there is a biological aspect also in Parsons' understanding. You will see time and again later also when we discuss biological aspect, Parsons is giving a lot of importance. Okay. So Parsons here modify over Weber by defining action more. This is more comprehensively. And thereby broadening the scope of social action. Okay, so here I have written that it can be asked as a question, so you can prepare your answer for 300 words. Actually, this is the answer. There is no need to write anything. Now, whatever is coming after this also you need to incorporate in your answer. Okay, so this directly like this statement can be given and they can ask you question like discuss or critically analyze or comment, whatever it is. Anyway, it is sure that Parsons have modified. See, actually Parsons went to Weber, Germany, and Parsons actually studied under the wife of Weber, okay, and he got a lot of motivation from there, and then he studied everything related to Weber, and finally he made this theory. So there are a lot of things that you can see that he improved over Weber. Parsons consider, okay, now this is the idea that Parsons giving. Just understand the diagram, then we can go through the PDF, then it will be very easy for you. So you as an actor, okay, you are an actor and you have a goal. What is your goal? You need to crack IAS, okay, so this is your goal. So every actor, every individual have goal, not necessarily this long-term goal, short-term goal also, like many different goals will be there. So actor always have goals, okay, and you need to achieve also. And to achieve that goals, you have different means. Let's say this is mean 1, this is mean 2, this is mean 3, like that. This is mean n. So many means are available. For example, when you want to crack IAS exam, you have so many coaching centers are available. C1, C2, C3, Cn, right? So many coaching centers are available. So much of materials are available. So much test series are available. Everything is there. Okay. Now, it is your decision which one you are going to choose. Let's say you are going to choose this. You choose this based on two aspects. One is the society will tell you to take that, or your family will tell you. That is the extra, or your colleagues or your friends, etc. They are going there, so they are telling you to choose that. So that is one aspect. You got the guidance from someone, or you yourself will decide. That is your own motivation, that I am going to join here. Okay, or I am going to take this notes or test series, etc. So your action, that means the means that you are choosing to achieve the goal, depends on two aspects. In simple terms, it is external aspect and internal aspect. Internal means your own motivation. You decide that I am going to this person, I am going to this teacher. Okay, or the other society will tell you, you go to this institute or this teacher, like that. You got it? So it is actually the combination of external and internal aspect which will work, and you will select a particular mean which is actually making a compromise between external and internal. Sometimes in the modern society, which one is more important here? In this, external or internal? Huh?
Internal, sir.
Internal. In the modern society, you don't care the norms, values, ideas, elders, the others. Okay, what others says is not important. It is your own motivation is what matters. What you feel correct is what matters, right? So even you attending this class itself is because of your own motivation. So that you can understand. The modern society, your own motivation is what matters, not the society or not what others say, not the values, not the external aspect. Okay, so actor's decision. Now what I want to tell you is, actor want to achieve the goal. So he have to take a decision which mean he have to select from this. So actor's decision with respect to the selection of the means, it can be anything. Let's say I'm going for this. The actor's decision with respect to the selection of means will depend on norms and values of the society and also his own motivation. Okay, now tell me, when we discussed about Weber, how he defined action? He defined action only in terms of this part, right? Only individual's motivation. Individual take action because he is motivated. Individual's meaning is what more important. Now you can easily tell me from here how Parsons modified our Weber. How Parsons modified our Weber? By introducing this element. Correct? So this element, when you see, this is actually from Durkheim. This is from Weber. So, or in other way, this is micro, this is macro. So here you can say how clearly Parsons modified our Weber. Forget about the definition, forget about the other conditions and everything. Seeing this diagram, this aspect itself, this is a main thread. How Parsons modified our Weber? Because Parsons also take into consideration the external aspect, that is the norms and values in understanding the action. Okay, so here the point is, actor is always goal seeking, he possesses alternate means, and the decision with respect to which mean he is going to choose to achieve the goal depends on two aspects. It is external or internal, norms and values of society or your own motivation. Maybe, now we will discuss about those things later. Modern society, it will be more close to this. In traditional society, it will be more close to this. There are some societies which are transitional, it will be in between. So you will face dilemma. For example, you are going for interview, okay, civil service exam, UPSC interview you are going to. So on the road, you see a person who met with an accident. In road, you see a person who met with an accident. Now, the question is what you're going to do here. Will you go for interview or you're going to help this person? If you're going to help this person, you miss the interview. If you go to interview, this person will die. Okay, so this is a question. So in case of traditional society, what is more important? Your role is defined, that you will help this person, that is more important. More norms and values, collectivity is more important. In the modern society, like in US and all, what is supposed to be done? You will go for interview because achievement is what matters. In traditional society, it is not achievement, it is ascription society, right? So here achievement matters, so you go for the interview only, because you know clearly there are other institutions to take care of this role. It is not your responsibility or duty, and you are not committed to that anyway. So in traditional society, you will not face any problem. You will only go with the role designed, that is, you will help that person. Modern society also, you are not facing any dilemma. No dilemma here. You will go to the interview. But in societies like India, that means the societies who are in transition, neither traditional nor modern, these societies will face the dilemma. Okay, we will discuss this separately, not in sociology. These situations as ethical dilemma. Okay, the value, morality, conflict, we will discuss this separately. But here I am saying, here if you are standing here, that means you have an element from here and you have an element from here. Almost equally, like what parents said, you will take that. Your colleague said you will take that. At the same time, you also feel like you need to go to this institute. Right? So like that. I hope it is clear. This is a very simple concept. Don't make it difficult. This is a very simple concept. This is the only simple thing in Parsons that you are going to study. Tomorrow onwards, it is going to be very difficult. Yeah, Asif, tell me.
Sir, I have a question like with the external part. Okay.
Yeah.
So external part is the macro part. Okay. So norms and values comes from both society and the individual. Like norms of the society, norms of the individual. values of the society and values of the individual.
But here only values of society is taken.
I agree. But the thing is, ideas come from the self. Okay, so it is very irregular to think that what is the ideas of the society. Okay. So whether it is correct to write idea as an external part of the society.
No. Idea we are not writing external. Okay, that is a mistake. Sorry. This is norms and values generally. Norms, values, okay. Ideas. Here I have written ideas. These are general ideas. Okay, not.
Maybe we can write constraint. Constraint.
Constraints. That is norms and values are constraints. Ideas means general ideas is what I mean to say here. General ideas. That is part of society.
I'm not trying to make point regarding the further thinker like Mead, because Mead talks about the ideas comes from the self. Okay, so this is an individual aspect, rather it is a macro aspect of the society.
No, ideas not only comes from self, ideas will come from society also. In Mead is also talking about ideas which is created from society only. Mead's theory is basically theory of society. Ultimately, it is explaining society. We will come to Mead later, but here this idea means general ideas. This is not the ideas developed in the minds of the individual. General ideas about how an individual is going to behave, etc. That is nothing but norms and values. See, ideas which are codified is what norms and values.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that is what ethics. Ultimately, okay. And ideas which are codified at the individual level, that is what morality. Ethics and morality, that is a different mainly. We will discuss that later, but here that's not required. So this is norms, values, ideas, etc. related to certain things. That is external. These are situational conditions, individuals' ideas, etc., meanings, motivation, etc. will come here. Okay, we don't want to waste time. We'll go to the PDF now.
Sir,
tell me.
Sir, in this diagram, these arrows are directed towards actor and goal from norms, values, ideas, and then from actor and goal, these arrows are directed towards situational conditions. What does this mean? Like, why this?
Actually, it's like this. Now it is correct, no?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Maybe the typewriter is not the sociologist.
Typewriter is not only sociologist, actually English also not known to her properly. Okay. So, Parsons consider actor as an individual person who is goal seeking. See, goal is very important in all Parsons' understanding. Is always goal seeking and possess alternate means to achieve this goal. Okay, you can see these are the means. We have just shown this in a diagram, otherwise there is nothing. What Parsons said, we made it in a diagram. Actor in this course takes voluntary action which is influenced by his own motivation and values of society. That's it. This paragraph is what we have shown here. So actor is always goal seeking. He possesses different means and he take action which is based on this and this. You should show the arrow like this. Thus for Parsons, the actor is oriented towards either the norms and values of society, that is external, or his own motivation resulting from his own situation, either this or so either the norms and values of society or his own motivation or both. These orientation influence actors' decision with respect to the choice of means and the goals in the performance of social action. Thus, Parsons mentioned two orientations. Two orientations are motivational orientation and value orientation. Tell me which one among this is internal and which one is external?
Motivation is internal and values are external.
This is internal and this is external. Okay, so exactly the same thing that we have discussed. Motivational orientation, value orientation. Motivational orientation, in which actor takes into account his own personal needs, interest and plans. Here actor's own situation what matters. It is an individualistic or micro aspect of social action. Further, motivational orientation is having three aspects, that is cognitive, cathetic and evaluative. See, when we are talking about cognitive, cathetic, evaluative, I have explained what is that. Cognitive, it is related to observation according to one's own needs. When we talk about cathetic, it is having a component that we have discussed under Weber, that is an emotional affective component. Evaluative means you evaluate the situation, how best to use your energies to satisfy your needs, like that. Okay. Value orientation, it refers to the influence of the standards of values and morality which is particular to a society. It is a result of pressure exerted by collectivity. So here this is what? First, this is related to Weber, internal aspect, actor's own situation, individualistic or micro aspect of social action. So this one is particular to society. Role of collectivity, this is related to macro or related to Durkheim. Okay, so here Parsons improved over Weber, that you can explain quite well. I hope it is done. It further have three aspects: cognitive, appreciative and moral. Cognitive means societal values altering observation. Appreciative, societal values altering emotions here. Moral, what is the right thing to do, etc. You don't want to focus on the explanation of this part. According to Parsons, these orientation exist in every action in different degrees. Okay, so I've told you in different degrees, and also it depends on individual, it depends on the type of society you live. If it is traditional society, you will be more close to this. If it is modern society, you will be more close to this. If it is transitional society, you will be close to this. Both will be there almost equally. Okay, so this will range from 60 to 40, 40 to 60, 70, 30, okay, 90, 10, okay, like that. This variation will be there. And we don't want to put that in a mathematical way, but still, I'm saying it depends on society, it depends on individual. Okay, thus there can be various different combination of orientation resulting in three types of action. So Weber talking about how many? 4. Here Parsons talking about 3 types. How various combination of orientation. What orientation? Value orientation and motivational orientation. Based on the orientation, there can be 3 types. This 3 type will accommodate the 4 types of Weber. Firstly, instrumental action. Now, instrumental action, here evaluative component is more dominant. So here actor will take an action by considering the means and ends. So actually it is similar to Zweck rational action of Weber. This one. Expressive action. Here the emotional component, affective component is more dominant. So which action of Weber?
Affective.
Affective action of Weber. When it comes to moral action, here morality, moral values, traditional beliefs, etc. will be more dominant. So it is similar to traditional action and worked rational action of Weber. So moral action accommodate these two. Parsons say there is no need to separate these two separately. This can be considered under moral action. That means when I gave you an example, when you see the elders, you touching the feet of elders. Why to keep it as traditional action? It is a moral action. Respecting the teachers. Why it is a traditional action? It is a moral action. There is no need of such distinction actually. So instrumental action, it is an action in which evaluative component okay. So see, once you are attending the class, even in case if I am not updated here, you should be in a position to read it correctly. Don't make this mistake. I will try to update it after some time later, but when you are reading, you should read it correctly only. Okay. Evaluative component is more dominant. Actor takes into consideration his own means and ends while performing social action. So it is similar to Zweck rational action of Weber. Expressive action. In this action, the cathetic and appreciative component and appreciative orientation are more concerned. It involves an emotional response. Emotional response, as soon as you see this is nothing but affective action of Weber. Emotional response is most visible. Moral action in this, the influence of morality or the values are more dominant. It includes the influence of both beliefs and values. It is similar to traditional and word rational action of Weber. Actual action may be a combination of these three types, and the pure form may or may not exist. This is similar to Weber. Weber also said the same thing. So this 3 is the ideal type for Parsons. So Parsons is also talking about ideal type. 3 ideal types are this: instrumental action, expressive action, moral action. Instrumental action similar to Zweck rational action of Weber. Expressive action similar to affective action of Weber. Moral action is similar to traditional and word rational action of Weber. So this is what you need to write in case of the question is asked. Either Parsons' theory of social action or how Parsons improved over Weber. But this is not the most important aspect. Most important part is where? It is coming here. Don't focus on definition, or don't focus on the ideal type parts. Those are okay, those are important, but that's not the most important one. What is the most important one? If you ask me, this part is the most important one. So this is what you need to stress on. In case if the question is about how Parsons modified over Weber. If the question is about how Parsons modified over Weber, this is the most important part. Okay, obviously ideal types, he reduced into 3 ideal type, but still these 3 ideal type is talking about the 4 concepts of Weber only. This is something which is excluded by Weber. So this you need to highlight. Any doubt here?
No, sir.
This is a very simple topic. Already we have done with the action, social action of Weber. So it is very easy to understand. Now tomorrow also we will be seeing a simple concept that is also related to social action only, pattern variable. The dilemmas that you're going to face with respect to selection of external and internal. Between this, the dilemma that you're going to face is understood in terms of pattern variables. That we will see tomorrow. And then we will discuss about the most important theory, that is social system. Okay, can we stop here today? Or if you have any doubt, we have time, we can discuss. Any doubts?
No.
No, sir.
Sir, in Durkheim theory, actually his theory of suicide, he said that suicidal forces like force of integration and forces of regulation.
Yes.
Because of these, this created suicidal currents which has tendency to commit a suicide.
Yes.
If we consider this as his theory, and if we consider next theories like division of labor or religion, he said integrity is for happiness, or he considered it as a function. So ultimately this integrity does not lead to suicide.
No, even that integration means because of the commitment towards society. It is not that you're committing suicide, right? See, what are the examples that I have given to you over there? The examples is like those cases where the soldier is dying in battlefield is also considered by Durkheim as suicide. It is Durkheim's understanding, but is that really suicide? Can you ever say that a soldier who dying in the battlefield is committing suicide? Will you say?
No.
We cannot say that. But Durkheim's understanding, it is suicide. Why it is suicide? Because his definition was any cause of death which is caused directly or indirectly with the positive or negative action of the victim himself, which he know will produce the same result. Based on the definition, when the soldier is going to the battlefield, he know that it will happen. Similarly, when the captain is moving with the ship, he know that it may happen. That is why it is considered as suicide. Otherwise, if you are so much integrated, what is the point in doing that? And maybe you will do that for some other reasons if you are integrated with society, but still when you are doing it, it may be because of some alienation problem or egoistic problem, something like that only. See, the definition is what makes it difficult for you to understand. generally, if you see, you are seeing those cases in general. We cannot consider those as suicides. Okay, soldier
Okay,
dying
sir,
in
understood.
okay.
A definition differs. I forgot
It
the
is
definition.
only because of the definition you have to take it as suicide. Otherwise, integration, it is good. No way people will commit suicide.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Yeah, tell me, Asif.
There is a question like state Alcott Parsons' contribution to theory of social action. Okay. So we have to, first of all, we write the definition of social action that is given by the Parsons. Okay. And then we will come to this part like this.
Now, even before you talk about definition, you talk about the introduction that I've told you. Today he added the different exclusivism favored by different perspective like positivism, idealism, utilitarianism, and that you can clearly show it here. The exclusion of non-positivism, idealism, that is this part, right? And positivism, that is this part. So you can show also in his theory of social action.
Okay.
That then you define, then you talk about Weber, how he improved over Weber also, and then that answer is that's a very direct question, direct question. What is the doubt in that?
No. I was asking whether when we were writing the answer, whether we had to explain this external part individually and the internal part individually.
Yeah, that you can do.
That there is a modification or contribution over the Durkheim and that there is contribution over the Weber.
Yes. Even if the question is not specifically asked about Weber, you need to write about Weber here.
Okay.
Yeah. Anything else?
No, sir, from my side.
We will.
The one thing, sir. In the definition, in the introduction, it is mentioned exclusivism. Sir, does that mean hold on, sir. Does that mean the rejection that we were talking, that others were specifically mentioned something else? Hello?
Tell me.
Sir, can you hear me?
Okay, I can manage, I can adjust. Tell me.
Sir, what other sociologists were saying about exclusivism, that they were specifically mentioned on a certain aspect, whether micro or macro. But Parsons combined both of them and gave a grant and mentioned and worked towards the grand theories. Does that means exclusivism?
No. Every perspective, that the three perspectives that we discussed, they are ignoring certain aspects. So you cannot ignore those things that is crucial in understanding the society according to Parsons. So Parsons incorporated those things which are neglected by certain schools, like certain perspective. Positivism neglected the importance of individual. Non-positivism or the idealism ignored the role of collectivity. Okay, utilitarianism ignored the role of values, etc. So Parsons incorporated everything. Because then you will get the complete picture of society.
Okay, sir.
So that is
Thank you.
That is Parsons' integrated approach. Yeah. So we will stop here. See you tomorrow.
Okay, sir.